Hello. As humans, we go through life and we perform actions for feelings. At the core of everything that we do is a feeling. And the reason why we do everything is for a feeling, whether you realize it or not. Now, in this society, we've become so preoccupied with the external world, thinking that's the reason for all of our actions, that we start defining ourselves as this external world, as this external body. Really, most people define themselves as, this thing which is sitting here right now. This is me. This is what I am. And that's great, but what that does is creates a tendency within us to start differentiating ourselves with this external body. I am more beautiful than you, I am smarter than you, I am more well dressed than you, I have a better job than you, all of these things which create separation between us and other human beings, our brothers and sisters, so to speak. Now, what if we were to change the way in which we define ourselves? What if we were defining ourselves not as our material bodies, but the essence of what it is to be human, and that is a feeling? What if we were to define ourselves and differentiate ourselves from other human beings by feelings? What would that feel like? Well, basically, look at us as human beings, and look at how amazing the material world is, how simple it is, how easy it is to get whatever we want, at least in our culture, in Australia. It's amazing, right? And that's because we're completely focused on it, okay? And that's great. That effort and that focus wasn't lost. It's great that we are where we are. But now what if we start to change the way in which we define ourselves, and we start to see that really what is more profound than this material external world is the internal, the feeling, because that's at the core of why we did all this. But we've lost that. We've lost that connection. So much so that we're not even aware of it. And when we start to define ourselves as our feelings, we start to focus on them, and we start to perfect them, so to speak. When we become more conscious of them, we start to have more control of them, like we have had of this external world. And then all of these problems with depression and anxiety and hopelessness, they can dissipate. Because this external world we've established based on it in our society, and based on that really interesting figure of 65,000 people in Australia in 1 year, last year I believe it was, trying to commit suicide, that really shows that the answer's not where we're looking. The answer's not in the material world. And the answer's not in defining ourselves as the material world. The answer is defining ourselves and differentiating ourselves by way of feeling and the way we feel. And it's an amazing experience to go through life and not be focused on the external world. I've only had that recently for a short period of time, and it's not 24 hours a day, it's only a small portion of the day, but when I do have it, it's amazing. All of these anxieties and stresses, they dissipate because they don't matter. What matters is my feeling. And when I'm in that space where I am a feeling, as opposed to a body, the world doesn't react to me in the same way. Okay? Now that might seem, to the mind, it seems pointless. To the ego, it's like, oh no, How are you going to get things done? Things have to get done. Of course they have to get done. But because I'm feeling so amazing, and I'm so aware of how I'm feeling, so I'm experiencing it more fully, the highs and the lows as well. The lows are there, but they're just there to teach us. But because I'm aware of it, and I feel much better as a whole, my experience is much greater, I, in the material world, act better. I'm less egotistical, I'm more loving, I'm more accepting, and people feel that. And when I'm at work, the same thing happens because I'm loving what I'm doing, no matter what it is. And I'm seeing the real meaning behind it, which inevitably happens when you're aware of your feelings. I'm more efficient, I'm more pleasant to interact with, and I'm just an amazing person to be around. Because I see that everyone is an amazing person to be around. Because I don't judge their actions. Because I don't judge their external appearance. Because I see the beauty behind them. I see the beauty behind you. And I see, more so than I used to, what you really are. And what you really are is everything. And the way in which I interact with you is the way in which I interact with myself. And it's just a beautiful world to live in. It's a beautiful dimension to live in. It is a different dimension from where we live right now, this external dimension. It's internal, it's a feeling, it's a completely different dimension. And the world interacts with us differently because we do interact with it differently. And the important thing to take out of this is that you can change. We can change. The world can change. And it doesn't have to be this way. Now, even if you don't realize it, even if you think this is a bunch of crap, that's fine. That's your decision. And ultimately, I can't, like, my talking can't make you have this realization. If you can understand what I'm saying, if you're taking something out of it, you should be extremely proud because that's you. That's your insight. These are just words. They're nothing more than that. But if you can have an insight that makes your life better, really better, and therefore makes everyone else's life better around you, that's what it's all about. But we seem to have lost that. But based on what's happening right now in the world, I can see that there's a shift back to something that is really meaningful. And I can only hope to help others like I've been helped come to that realization. You're beautiful. Thank you.